Hello friends, today we are going to start a new series on this channel, and I was quite inactive from last 1 year on this channel due to some engagements and all those things. But from today now onwards we will be doing each day some of the good things, and in whichever time I will be getting, I will be contributing towards your growth or your preparation for this year's prelims 2019 of UPSC Civil Services examination. So for today I have started with one series that is called whatever you have planned, you have seen in the Insights on India, that is they have actually started with the 75 days plan, and that is the revision tests. So every day they are giving 25 questions, you must be aware about, and some of them are very serious. Candidates are also doing that thing. In fact, I am also doing that revision test, and I find it quite attractive also, quite useful also. So for this lesson and for every lesson, I will try to conclude this whole thing within 10 to 12 minutes, and it will be very useful for your revisions, because I have made the very short notes out of those 25 questions, because these are having so many concepts. So it will be having quite a good strategy to revise through the the concepts in a very short and crispy note kind of thing. So here I am starting with the day 1 of Insights on India 75 days revision plan. So let's go. So this is about the first thing we are going to talk about is, and you please go there and you please solve that, and then after, when you want to revise, then only you see this thing. Otherwise it will be a kind of cheating thing. So don't cheat yourself, or don't become so much relaxed. You please first go there, you solve that, and in the case of revision you come over here and you just revise through it. So in that way you can better remember it for longer time. So the first concept is related to the Hindu rate of growth, and this growth rate is actually related to the GDP growth rate of 1950s to 1980s, and this term has been given by Professor Raj Krishna. And what it is describing? It is describing the inadequacy of India's growth performance, and it refers sluggishness in India's economy, right? And I will be sharing all these notes what I am actually teaching over here and explaining over here in the below given a space, and you can go there and you can download the notes for every day. I will be sharing the everyday separate notes, and compiled notes will be also there if possible, right? So this is about 3.5% of growth between, on an average 3.5% of GDP growth between 1950s to 1980s. So this is called Hindu rate of growth. What is the second thing? Second thing is related to the Assam. So Assam state of India is sharing border with all the northeastern state except Sikkim. So what are those all 7 states? These 7 states are called Seven Sisters, and in fact they are the northeastern most states of India, and they are having very critical security situation also because of the Chicken Neck corridor. So all 7 states are like those who are having borders. So Assam is one of them. So itself 6 states are covering there: Arunachal Pradesh, Nagaland, Manipur, Mizoram, Meghalaya, Tripura. These states are there who are sharing the border with Assam. So except Sikkim, every state in northeastern India is sharing border with Assam. But only 2 states internationally share the border with Assam state. And what are those? Upside, you can in the north it is actually sharing the border with Bhutan, and in the south it is sharing border with Bangladesh only. So it is not sharing borders with other countries. So you please remember this. Going to the third concept, it is related to the Maha public sector enterprises, and these are the Maha public sector enterprises: Steel Authority of India Limited, Gas Authority of India Limited, Bharat Heavy Electronics Limited, Coal India, National Thermal Power Corporation, IOCL, this is also Oil Corporation Limited, Indian Oil Corporation Limited, ONGC, Oil and Natural Gas Company Limited, and then BPCL, Bharat Petroleum Corporation Limited. So most of them are gas and you can see oil companies, and some of them are Coal India, some of them are related to steel. So how we can remember? These sectors are particularly the core sectors, core sectors companies also. So there are 8 core sectors, you can go revise there. Most of them are related to this thing only. So you can better remember in that way. But here Bharat Electronics Limited is a Navaratna company. It is not Maharatna. So it is a lesser status than the Maharatna. Maharatna is a highest status for any PSC. So what is the criteria for granting of Maharatna status? First of all, you have to be Navaratna status. So now Bharat Electronics Limited can apply for Maharatna status. But other than Navaratna status, you must be having other things also. And what are those other criteria? Listed on Indian Stock Exchange. You have to be listed on the Indian Stock Exchange as a company under SEBI rules. That is Security and Exchanges Board of India. And then you have to be annual turnover, average annual turnover in last 3 years of more than 25,000 crore rupees, right? Then annual net worth of more than 15,000 crore rupees in the same duration, that is 3 years average. So we are taking 3 years average for everything, that is turnover 25,000 crore rupees, net worth 15,000 crore rupees, and then after taxes your net profit should be not less than 5,000 crore rupees. So it is easy to remember. It is like 5,000 crore, add 10,000 crore, then add 10,000 crore rupees. So 5,000 crore rupees net profit, 15,000 crore rupees net worth, and 25,000 crore rupees turnover in the last 3 years. So this is the status, and apart from it, you must be having significant global presence or international operations as a company. So all of these are having other, foreign branches also, like in Vietnam, like in South Africa, or many other countries. So this is the status criteria for granting Maharatna status to any company. Then what is the fourth thing? Fourth thing is related to the land borders of India, that is around 15,000 kilometer, and then coastline, and including island, India is having coastline of nearly half of land borders, that is 7,500 kilometers, and that is 7,500 kilometers. So if you multiply it with 2, you are getting the land border around approx. So it is easy to remember in that way. Land borders are much double the amount of the coastline, including the islands, right? Then what are the border lengths? So Bangladesh and India border. So India's boundary with Bangladesh is highest. So it is around 4,000 kilometers. Then second thing is China, and third thing is Pakistan, including Pak occupied Kashmir. So these 3 things you must remember. You can remember through BCP code. So BCP code will be giving Bangladesh, China, and Pakistan. What are the other things? Nepal, Myanmar, Bhutan, and Afghanistan. So the last one is Afghanistan, the minimum amount of boundary, and then before that the second last thing is Bhutan. What are the forces deployed at different borders? So Bangladesh in Pakistan is covered by BSF, and because border security forces are actually equipped to handle those kind of situation, which is emanating from cross-border terrorism and all kind of infiltration. So Bangladesh in Pakistan is having, and this is Bangladesh was again East Pakistan only. So Pakistan and Bangladesh is being handled by BSF. Then China needs a different kind of expertise in a very hilly kind of terrain. So that's why we need Indo-Tibetan border police. So they are having that separate kind of expertise to handle the Chinese kind of terrain. Then Myanmar will be handled by Assam Rifles, because Assam Rifles will be containing more of indigenous people over there, like recruitment will be done from the northeastern areas only. Much of the recruitment I am saying. So they will be knowing about the terrain, they will be hospitable to that terrain, so they will be applied in the Myanmar, because Myanmar is not sharing the direct boundary with Assam, but Assam Rifles will be much aware about the situation on the ground. Then Nepal and Bhutan. So these are the friendly country more or less. So they will be handled by Sashastra Seema Bal. This is called SSB. So Sashastra Seema Bal is deployed over there in a friendly kind of situation, Nepal and Bhutan. So these all borders is having some kind of concept to deploy some particular forces. You must see that. So where Indian Army is being deployed? At the LOC, that is line of control with the Pakistan, and line of actual control with the China. So how we can remember? You must remember that Indian Army will be deployed at the conflict zones, not on the settled boundary particularly. Then Indian Navy and Coast Guard will be defending the coastal borders. Here state or the marine police of the state will be the second line of defense. Okay, going to the next point. GDP CP, that is called gross domestic product, okay, at the cost price. So what is this? Growth rate of India. GDP CP is not steadily increasing from last decade, right? So this is the case. There are several pointers over there. You can see in the notes itself. But one most crucial thing is it is it declined during the 2008-9 to up to 7% around because of the Lehman crisis. You must be aware about 2008. And it improved in the 2009-10 and 10-11 situation up to 9% of GDP also because of higher capital inflows and massive quantitative easing kind of situation because of US policies. And then it slumped back again in 2011-12, 12-13, 13-14, and it slumped back to 4.74%. That was the historic low, due to largely because of policy logjams and investor dwindling sentiment or decreasing sentiment. So this was also due to gross domestic savings rate were being decreased, gross fixed capital formation were being decreased. And present base year for calculation of GDP is 2011-12, right? So you have to remember this thing. And then quantitative easing, what is that? We talked about this quantitative easing by the USA. So quantitative easing is nothing but known as a large scale asset purchases. And what is asset over here? Asset is determined by bonds, shares and all those things, is a monetary policy. So quantitative easing is a monetary policy where you actually purchase large scale assets. And who purchases that? Central bank. So just like RBI, their Central Bank of America will be purchasing the predetermined amounts of government bonds or other financial assets in order to inject money directly into the economy, right? So see this timing, I'm not able to finish it within 10 minutes because this was the first session also. So it will be taking much more time today, but you can actually increase the speed of this session up to 2x because the natural speed will be not that much high. So if you choose, you can actually speed up the process. But from second day or third day, I will be picking up the speed and I will be decreasing the amount of explanation and I will be sticking to the direct points. So just to break the ice today, I have actually increased the amount of the time today. So please forgive me for that. Expansionary macroeconomic policy. They encourage economic growth or they combat inflation. So what is expansionary macroeconomic policy? So here by expanding money supply in the market, and that can be done by the central bank. Lower interest rate. So interest rate, the loan taking rate will be lowered. Then increase government spending or cut tax. So government will be putting money in the market, they will be investing, they will be cutting the taxes, so people are not heavily taxed. So they will be actually spending, consumption will be done, and then it will be leading to the economic growth also, and the prices will be also down. So more money will be there, and the similar kind of demand supply will be matched. So expansionary macroeconomic policy supports the expansion of the market, and people will be feeling relaxed about the inflation rate and the economic growth will be booming. So here increasing tax rate is actually contractionary policy, not expansionary policy, that we have to remember, right? Moving to the next thing. This is about the Global Register of Introduced and Invasive Species, that is GRIIS, Global Register of Introduced and Invasive Species. So this is particularly about invasive species. This is developed, this register is developed and hosted by IUCN, right? And then it compiles annotated and validated country-wise inventories of introduced and invasive species. And it is undertaken by ISSG within the framework of CBD, Global Invasive Alien Information Partnership. And what is that ISSG? Invasive Species Specialist Group. It aims to reduce threats to the natural ecosystem and native species by increasing awareness of invasive alien species, ways to prevent, control or eradicate them. What is GRC Partnership? That is Global Invasive Alien Species Information Partnership. We talked about here. Is intended to support parties to CBD, that is Convention on Biological Diversity, who are committed to effective implementation of Article 8H of Aichi Biodiversity Target 9, that is talking about Aichi Biodiversity Target 9 is talking about invasive alien species, and various decisions under CBD pertaining to prevention, eradication and control of invasive alien species. The next thing is invasive species of flora. And flora means flowers of plants like eucalyptus, wattle, pine, cypress, lantana camara. These plants are proliferating across Nilgiri's upper slopes. So Nilgiris is in at the north of Kerala, Karnataka and Tamil Nadu. So Nilgiri upper slopes, you can find these kind of species are actually proliferating. So Prosopis jolifera, Parthenium and Eupatorium spread on biosphere's lower side. These are the upper slope species. You can go through it again on the notes provided by me. And the lower slopes are actually Prosopis jolifera has been asked by the UPSC also. What is this? So invasive species. Weeds like a Scotch broom and gorse also began to spread profusely in habitats like avalanche, Upper Bhavani and Mukurthi National Park. This is very important, Mukurthi National Park, and that is home to endangered Nilgiri Taha, that is the state animal of Tamil Nadu. Okay. So this is about the United Nations Decade on Biodiversity. This is from 2011 to 2020. You can see that. You can remember it also. You can ask directly the question based on it. Then UN Biodiversity Conference. Investing in biodiversity for people and planet. UN Biodiversity Conference is being, conference is happening, and the COP, Conference of Parties 14, that was also called Conference of Parties MOP 9, that was done in 2018, Sharm el Sheikh. This is a place in Egypt. Egypt is in Africa, Northern Africa, MENA region, Middle East and North Africa region. The northeastern part, which is connecting the Asian side, that is like Israel and all, West Asian side, there Egypt you can find. So Sharm el Sheikh, Egypt 2018 UN Biodiversity Conference happened. Next thing, major impact of LPG, that is liberalization, privatization and globalization of economy 1991 was removing compulsory licensing. Here you have to see, as of now, only 4 industries are reserved for public sector, that is arms related, ammunition, items of defense equipment. So this is one category related to arms and ammunition and defense. Second thing is defense aircraft and warships. And then third thing is atomic energy, and fourth thing is railway transport. So all these are reserved for the public sector only. Then only 6 industries fall under the compulsory licensing, right? So this is related to compulsory licensing or patenting, that is brewing of alcoholic drinks, cigars and cigarettes of tobacco and manufactured tobacco substitutes. So here you can remember like alcohol, cigarettes, then electronic aerospace and defense equipment of all types, then industrial explosives like detonating fuses, safety fuses, gunpowder, nitrocellulose and matches, hazardous chemicals, drug and pharmaceuticals, drug policy 1994 under that. So here the only one thing you have to remember, because other things are easy to guess because these are related to national security and personal safety also, public health also. So these must be reserved under compulsory licensing, and you have to take the license to manufacture and distribute these materials. And here in this reserve sector, public sector also, you can easily see the importance, the strategic importance of atomic energy, railway transport, arms and ammunition, defense aircraft and warship. But here drugs and pharmaceuticals are also under the compulsory licensing because it is impacting the greater level of public health and all other things of internal national security, right? Then small units which imply less than 50 workers with power or less than 100 workers without power, not required to obtain any license under CL provisions. So these are the exceptions in this compulsory licensing system. Going to the Gini coefficient. Gini coefficient is the measure to gauge rich poor income or wealth divide. So what is the divide between rich and poor people according to their wealth status and income status? That is shown by the statistical measure of Gini coefficient. It measures the inequality of distribution of income or wealth within nations or states. The value varies anywhere from 0 to 1, perfect equality to perfect inequality. So 0 is perfect equality, means nobody is divided, everybody is equal. So 0 is there, means no gaps are there, right? 1 is divided, like there is a distance, the 1 is the biggest distance. So it will be like somewhere, India will be somewhere between 0 point something, 5, 0.6, this kind of figure it is being provided by Gini coefficient. So most of the countries who are Nordic countries will be under 0.1 itself and 0 also if possible. Can be used to compare income distribution of country over time as well, because it is showing like if India has done something in 1940s and now in new century they will be compared and will be telling the gap between over the time also. Increasing trend. Income inequality is rising independent of absolute incomes. This is the trend of Gini coefficient. Generalize in Gini coefficient, and when we are seeing that the gaps are increasing in Gini coefficient, so government policies are not inclusive. This is the one of the crux. Okay, the next thing is applications of geo-positioning systems. So what are the geo-positioning systems? So gives high accuracy, mapping soil samples location. You can map the soil locations. Farmers can locate areas of suitable soil. Then so it will be used in agriculture. Then second thing is mapping and measuring. So earth's surface, underwater, land boundaries, sea flows, changes in shapes and structures of these places can be mapped and measured. So this is cartographic thing also. Then third thing is bank use. Schedule or determine local global money transfers, provide audit trail transactions for illegal money trail or laundering, used in any weather or environmental conditions that is preferred for disaster management. Emergency vehicles and supplies can be tracked, projecting temperature levels both on ground and atmosphere. So these are the applications of GPS or geo-positioning system. Then third thing is financial inclusion. What is the financial inclusion? This is a much sought out word. So individual or businesses can access to useful, affordable financial products, services that meet their needs. Transactions, payments, saving, credit, insurance, all these things delivered in a responsible and sustainable way can be said to be examples of financial inclusion. Next thing is related to Global Findex database. This is very important. Global Findex database. World's most comprehensive data set on how adults save, borrow, make payment and manage risk, right? So World Bank initiative with funding from Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. This is Global Findex database is the initiative of World Bank and it is being funded by BMGF, that is Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, published every 3 years. This is a very unique thing for this database. Every 3 years, not annual or biennial. This is every 3 years since 2011. So this is a new kind of database. The next thing, waiving of agricultural loan. Waiving of agricultural loan increases fiscal deficit. So your FD fiscal deficit will be increased if you are waiving off the agricultural loan. So this is not a prudential measure, rather it is actually harming the prospect of our long-term growth of our Indian economy. Then Niti Aayog formed via resolution of Union Cabinet on January 1st, 2015 Please be careful about the dates, because sometimes UPSC asks about the date also. January 1st 2015. This is a premier policy think tank of Government of India, providing both directional and policy inputs. While designing strategic long-term policies program for Government of India, technical advice is also given to center and states. No power to allocate financial resources to states like Planning Commission. So these highlighted things are the special measures provided by the Niti Aayog. Then T-bills. What are the T-bills? T-bills is also full formed as treasury bills. Treasury bills, short-term security issued on behalf of government by Reserve Bank of India to manage short-term liquidity needs of government. There are 91 days T-bills, 182, 364 days treasury bills, and they are traded like every week or alternate week depending upon the days, right? And they are discounted to the face value, so holders get the face value on the maturity, and the gap value is the profit of the the holder itself. Return depends upon auctions. So if liquidity position in the economy is tight, returns will be higher, and it will be vice versa if the liquidity position is normal. So individual firms, trust, institution and banks, everybody can in fact purchase T-bills, treasury bills. Commercial and cooperative banks use treasury bills for fulfilling their SLR, right? SLR requirement, statutory liquidity ratio requirement. Commercial and cooperative bank can use treasury bills for that. Treasury bills issued only by central government. State governments do not issue any kind of treasury bill. This was being asked by 2018, if I'm not wrong, 2018 prelims of UPSC. Okay, so this is a very important question. Secondary market of T-bills is very active, so there is a high degree of tradability in the secondary market itself. Then Riyang or Bru, one of the 21st scheduled tribes of Tripura, found all over Tripura. So these are the inhabitants of Tripura primarily, but they are being found in Mizoram, Assam and Manipur because of persecution in Tripura, or the atrocities in Tripura itself. They speak the Riyang dialect or Bru language. So their name is also, tribal name is also Riyang or Bru. Their language is also Riyang or Bru. So these are Tibeto-Burmese origin language, and locally called Kao Bru. Polavaram project. So these are under construction, multi-purpose irrigation project on Godavari, and west and eastern Godavari district in Andhra Pradesh. So this is Andhra Pradesh, you have to remember, okay? This is multi-purpose irrigation project, Polavaram project. India's maiden interstate tiger relocation. So this maiden means this is the first interstate. Interstate means not intrastate, but between two states tiger relocation has happened for the first time from Madhya Pradesh to tiger reserve in Odisha. Madhya Pradesh. From Madhya Pradesh to Odisha, tiger has been relocated. Relocation is being approved by NTCA, that is National Tiger Conservation Authority. Kicks off early 2018. Male T1. So name was given T1 from Kanha Tiger Reserve in Madhya Pradesh. Male T1 from Kanha Tiger Reserve. Yeah. Then female T2 from Bandhavgarh in MP. So both of these has been, both tigers were brought to 963 square kilometer Satkoshia Tiger Reserve in June. So Satkoshia is in Odisha. Both Kanha and Bandhavgarh is in MP. So they have been relocated to Satkoshia to shore up existing tiger population of 2 in reserve and thereby in the state. Okay. Next thing, APTA or Bangkok Agreement. So APTA and Bangkok Agreement was signed in 1975 as an initiative of ISCAP. This is a United Nations organization, and being oldest preferential trade agreement. So this is a PTA, preferential trade agreement, and this is the oldest preferential trade agreement among developing countries in Asia Pacific, right? So in Asia and Pacific region, this is the oldest preferential trade agreement. Aims to promote economic development through adoption of mutually beneficial trade liberalization measures, contribute to intra-regional trade expansion, economic extension through coverage of merchandise goods, services, investment, trade facilitation, etc. 6 member countries are Bangladesh, China, India, Laos, Korea and Sri Lanka. These things you can actually go through in the notes also again and again and can remember it. UNESCAP full form is United Nations Economic and Social Commission for Asia and Pacific. So this is an initiative of UNESCAP. APTA or Bangkok Agreement. Okay. APTA means Asia Pacific Trade Agreement. UNMOGIP. What is UNMOGIP? United Nations Military Observer Group in India and Pakistan. Why it is in news? One of the oldest UN mission this is, and they were deployed in January 1949 because of ceasefire happened between India and Pakistan in Jammu and Kashmir. So they actually observed the developments regarding the strict observance of ceasefire, right? And a group based in Rawalpindi, 43 military observers and 23 international civilian personnel are there. Since Simla agreements of 1972, India has adopted a non-recognition policy towards third parties in their bilateral exchanges with Pakistan over Jammu and Kashmir. So they are not recognizing this organization anymore, but Pakistan is taking help of these organizations. FATF, Financial Action Task Force. It was established by G7 summit in Paris and in 1989, and this is an intergovernmental body. What it does, so these are developing the develop and combat money laundering related situation, and in 2001 it expanded its mandate to combat terrorist financing also, right? Since its inception, FATF operated under a fixed lifespan, but current mandate is from 2012 to 20, adopted at ministerial meeting in 2012. So these are the objectives. You can see that standard legal regulatory operation measures related to money laundering, basically terrorist financing, and related to threats to integrity of international financial system, right? Other details you can go through. And if country is placed in grey list of FATF list, grey list, Pakistan has been given the grey list, it would become harder to tap international loans from different financial institutions. So Pakistan is helping terrorism, so that's why they have been observed by grey listing of FATF. Now fiscal consolidation. Policies undertaken by governments, national and subnational levels, to reduce the deficits and accumulation of debt stock. This is indicated by reduced FD, that is fiscal deficit, right? Not fiscal deficit, but particularly fiscal consolidation. Policies undertaken by governments, national and subnational levels, to reduce their deficits and accumulation of debt stock. So it is actually decreasing the debts and deficits, right? And how we do it? Improve tax revenue realization. So tax revenues will be improved. Better aligned expenditure will be done. So prudential measures will be given by the governments. Components of fiscal consolidation as FD reaches at a manageable level. Next thing is related to diseases eliminated and eradicated in India. These are not exhaustive, exhaustive list, but these are you must be aware about at least these things: smallpox, then rinderpest, polio, yaws, maternal and neonatal tetanus, and trachoma. Trachoma is related to eyes. Tetanus related to maternal, neonatal is related to the childbirth. Then yaws and AC, Small Farmers Agribusiness Consortium. So this is an autonomous society promoted by Ministry of Agriculture, registered under Societies Registration Act 1860, also registered as Non-Banking Finance Corporation by RBI, or Non-Banking Finance Companies by RBI. Role of state SFACs are to aggressively promote agribusiness project development in their respective states. Then NSDC, established in National Skill Development Corporation, has been established in 2009, not for profit company set up by Ministry of Finance. So this is under Ministry of Finance, not for profit company, and it has been established as a PPP, public private partnership concept. Government of India through Ministry of Skill, that is MSDE, holds 49% of share capital of NSDC, while private sector balance is 51%. So this is private heavy, not public heavy, right? But the major shares from the government is through the Ministry of Skill, not the Ministry of Finance. Ministry of Finance has established, but being maintained by Ministry of Skill. BBB, Banking Board Bureau. So this was established in 2016. This is an autonomous body based on RBI appointed a Naik committee. They recommended by this body is recommended by Naik committee, right? To improve governance of PSBs, part of Indradhanush plan of government, replaced appointments board of government, and it is housed in RBI's central office in Mumbai, right? Broad agenda to improve governance as state-owned lenders. Mandate also involved advising government on top level bank appointment and assisting banks with capital raising plans plus strategies to deal with bad loans. These are guiding the banks on mergers and consolidations and governance issues to address bad loans problem, among other issues. State-led industrial development is a principal feature of independent India. Factors necessitated it. So what are the factors? Those necessitated the state-led industrial development, that is PSU's development, public sector units or public sector enterprises. Private sector lacked huge capital required for setting up of heavy industries at the first instance. Then private players less incentive to invest in industrialization due to low demand for industrial goods, because people were poor at that time. They were not having that kind of resources, so they were not able to purchase that kind of and create the demand in the market. Maximization of profit was not a motive behind state intervention, rather it is other way around. According to Article 114, no money can be withdrawn from Consolidated Fund of India to meet a specified expenditure except under the appropriation made by law. This is written in Article 114, you have to remember. So budget exercise is major part, passing of the budget is actually necessitated by Article 114. Similarly, state subnational governments can also draw from their consolidated funds only after an appropriation act is passed. So this is mandatory for state and central government both. Every year after budgetary estimates are approved, an appropriation bill, so this is related to particularly appropriation bill, is passed by parliament or state legislature. Then it is presented to president or governor. After assent by them, it becomes an act. Okay, this is related to appropriation bill at 114. And what about Article 112? This is about annual financial statement, that is called the union budget in itself. Has to distinguish expenditure of government on revenue account from other expenditures. So government budget therefore comprises of, government budget or annual financial statement, that will be comprising of revenue budget and capital budget both. So what are revenue budget? Consist of revenue receipts of government, tax revenues and other revenues like interests and dividend on investment made by government, fees and other receipts for services rendered by government, and expenditure made from these revenue. So this much only. For next day we will be doing in other video also. So these are the concept you must be remembering again and again. You rewind or you can speed up this video also. I will be continuing with the videos. I will be probably lessening the time next time. So I'm very sorry about the extended time of so much. I promised only 12 minutes, but it is nearly the 3 times more. But please bear with me this time. Next time I will be doing the less and doing the more effectively. But you can please download the notes and you can retain it and you can revise it. So within 2 to 2.5 pages. Within 2-3 pages I will be giving every day's inside 75 days plan, revision tests, notes also, and I will be making the videos just to describe all the keywords over here. Okay, so please bear with me. Thank you very much for listening and seeing. Please subscribe the channel and let me know if anything wrong is happening. If anything you find as a major problem or minor problem also, I will be happily entertaining it. Thank you very much.